In this video, we'll be doing mat-based Pilates and some gentle stretches. We won't need any equipment and we'll be working entirely at our own risk. So when you're ready, could I ask you to turn over and lay on your back? So allow your shoulders to open. Allow your back to lengthen and aim to have your hips and pubic bones level without forcing. Relax your arms to the side and become more aware of your breathing. Breathing wide and full across the back, the sides of the back. So nose, sternum, navel, pubic bones all in line. And when we feel ready, we'll grab the feet and take a pelvic tilt and then release. So just a light pelvic tilt and gently release. Now with this, at the moment, the tailbone's going straight in the centre. Let's take the tailbone equivalent to 25 past or 25-2. Doing about 4, slightly off centre. And then repeating likewise on the other side. So once again, slightly off centre. Still grounding the feet. And then going back to centre and just assessing what it feels like. Either same with the pelvic tilt or begin to roll up a little bit further in the back. Go more into your shoulder bridge. Aim to have your tailbone straight in the centre. So if your back feels like it's coming up in clumps, you can work through those clumps. You can slow it down in those clumps and try and mobilise more those areas. If your spine feels like it's whirling up and down, bone by bone, continue with this. And possibly as you come up, raise the arms, keeping the shoulders down from the ears, and lower the arms as you return. So how far back you should take your arms will depend on how much you can keep your shoulders down from the ears. So we want gap between the ears and the shoulders as the arms go overhead. So remember, the arms are an option. If your back is feeling more stiff, we can work on mobilising it more, just working through those areas. Or if you choose to go back to the pelvic tilt, either to one side or the other side, if they weren't quite balanced, that's fine too. So just doing what we need to mobilise through the back. So let's do a couple more in our own time. And then once we've done that, let's bring one knee in and hold on to it lightly. Feel how you're still breathing wide and full across the back without any force. And then lower that leg down and repeat on the other side. So lightly bring that leg in. If you feel you're gripping through the hip crease, easing off. Repeating again. And this time, choice to lift the heart and the head. Once again, aim to avoid gripping in the hip crease. Releasing when you're ready and repeating on the other side. We're going to repeat once more, and the leg we're not stretching, we might extend long on the mat, head up or down. Releasing when you feel ready and repeating on the other side. So head up or down. releasing. So from here, just check to see if your hips and pubic bones are on an even plane, have natural curves through the spine, but more importantly, hold your body still and fairly relaxed. So just light muscle tone and begin to extend the leg away and return. As you extend the leg away, keep the pelvis level and keep the tailbone in the middle. So you'd have nose, sternum, navel, pubic bone. So anyone can just extend their leg away, but a few people can extend their leg away and stabilise the pelvis. Choice to extend opposite arm to leg. So feel how the chin and the shoulders are just slightly retracted. The shoulder blades slide down and in. Feel the movements are just gliding. So aim to keep space between each bone. So we're going to do one more here. And then let's hug one leg in and then the second leg in. You might have the hands above the shins or by the thighs. Just relax the shoulders. You might wriggle them around. And if it feels good, if it feels correct for you, lift the heart and the head gently rounding in. Observe the breath. So you're breathing wide and full without forcing. Observe that head to tailbone connection. And then gently lower down in your own time. So we're moving on now, but know that you can always come back to any of the ones we've done. So if you feel ready, keeping the back still and the pelvis stable, raise one leg to tabletop and then the other leg. Now if you feel you want to make the load lighter, you can place the hands lightly under the knees, but still keep the shoulders relaxed. So in this position, you're going to extend the leg and then return. Extend the leg and then return. Keep the back still. So keeping space between every bone in your body. And harder, you can take the hands away. So using light control through the abdominals. Keep the shoulders open. Keeping the jaw relaxed. So let's aim for 2 more on either side, please. And then take one leg down, and then the other leg down. Let's take our feet a little bit wider. And we're going to take our knees towards the side, releasing through the hip flexor. So making sure it feels comfortable in the back, feel a pleasant stretch in the side. Allow your shoulders to just melt into the floor and become more aware of your breath. Let's do likewise on the other side. So roll your legs towards the back and feel the hip flexor release. Feel the gentle stretch in the waist. Feel those shoulders just melting into the floor and allowing the jaw and the forehead to relax. Returning back to neutral. So you might need to just adapt with the feet to ensure that you're in neutral. So from here, we're going to be taking knee dropouts. So if you choose, you can keep both feet down, take one knee to the side, keeping the hips level. So you might place your hands on the hips just to check that they're level, repeating with the other side. So you might think headlights beaming up towards the ceiling. So you can keep the feet down. The next step is to have one leg up and do about 4 with one leg, switching to the other leg. Or harder still is both legs in tabletop, keeping the back still, light control through the middle, maybe hands on hips, alternating the knee drop out. So think either 3 or 9 o'clock. And remember, it's not how far you take your leg out to the side, it's how level you keep your hips. So feel light engagement with the abdominals. So you can keep the legs only. You might place the hand lightly under the knees, or you might raise the arm and do opposite arm to leg. Shoulders are relaxed. So possibly doing a couple more on each side. Still keeping space all around the hip joints. So when we've done those couple more, let's lower down one leg and then the other leg. Begin to straighten the legs more. If that's comfortable, possibly totally straighten them. Feel the length. And then choice to extend the arms overhead. And as we often do, just allow yourself to focus more on the breath. Feel how your body feels. Notice where the weight is on the mat and where the gaps are. Notice if there's a little gap behind the neck and if there's a little gap behind the lower back. Notice if there's even weight in the shoulders and in the middle part of the back, on the bottom and on the legs. Just noticing, being more aware of your proprioception. Bringing the arms in when you're ready and bending the legs. We're going to roll the knees and the shoulders towards the side. So we're going to take it into side lying. You might choose to use a prop. So you might choose to use a towel or a cushion underneath your head. We're going to stabilise the pelvis. We want to have both sides of the waist long. We'll be taking it into clam and we'll have 4 with the feet together and down. We'll have 4 with the choice of raising the leg. We'll have 4 adding a leg extension and then 4 adding a triple leg extension. So let's ensure we've got length. You can have that hand in front or you might put this hand on the hip, checking that this hip stays forward. Breathing in to prepare, and as you breathe out, rotate. Breath in, centre. So it feels like the top bottom cheek squeezes against the underneath bottom cheek. All the time, the waist is long. So when you've done 4, choice to raise your heels. Still, your waist is long and your hips are stacked. Now, if you find this rotation uncomfortable, you could do straight leg lifts. After 4, raise and extend, heel to heel, knee to knee. Knowing that you can always stay with the previous options if that is your preference. So when you've done 4, we can move on to the triple leg extension. Notice that your hips are still sat and that you can still maintain that long waist. Heel to heel. Knee to knee in between. That long line, head to tailbone. So when you've done your repetitions, gently lower the legs. Now we're going to stretch then on the side. You might keep here. You might extend that top arm, or you might extend the legs back, knowing that you're not overarching your lower back. So allow both sides of the waist to lengthen. Allow both sides of the neck to lengthen. Observe how much of the ribs are on the mat, how much of the thighs are on the mat. So when you're ready, we're going to release and come up to a seated position. In this seated position, if you find sitting tall awkward, then you could sit on a block. So let's have the legs bent and elongate through the spine. Imagine you've got beach ball on your lap and you're going to lift up and over, keeping space between each bone. So when you're ready, breathe in, and as you breathe out, rounding over, sliding the shoulder blades down and in. Choose whether you want to stay here or return straight back up. Let's repeat that once more. So now we're going to, if we feel comfortable with it, take the legs either a little bit straighter or more or less totally straight. Find height. So think of space between each bone. Know that you can sit on blocks, catalogues, books, whatever you have. We're going to decrease the angle at the hip a little, but we're going to still keep the heart lifted and the head lifted. So if we were to imagine the spine as being building blocks or beads, we'd have space between each one. So double check the lift of the heart and feel that your breath isn't restricted as we're lifting up lightly through the muscles as opposed to collapsing into the joints. So let's gently release, and we're going to turn our legs to the other side when we're ready. So we'll be taking it into the plank. Find that setup where you're extending the bottom arm and the bottom arm's comfortable. If you need to adjust where the bottom arm is, that's always okay. Know that the neck is long. Know that the waist is long, making any adjustments. So hip on top of hip, knee on top of knee, foot on top of foot. Deciding where you're going to have that top hand. Become more aware of your breath. And when you're ready, rotating out, returning down. We have 4 of each. So keep length and head to tailbone, that connection. So when you've done 4, you have the choice of transitioning the feet up, making sure that you're still stacking the hips, that the waist is still long on both sides. Remember, it's not how much you turn out, it will be how much you're stabilizing. So waist long. So we're using the out breath on the up. So we have the choice of taking the triple leg extension. And when we've done 4 of them, let's return down, lengthen, and as before you choose whether you would like to keep your arm down, extend your arm overhead, or straighten the legs more. Have your lower back in neutral, avoid overarching your lower back. Once again, stacking shoulders, ribs and hips. So let's be aware how much of the ribs are on the floor and how much of the hips are on the floor. And you might do a mental comparison to the other side. It's not right or wrong, it's just being more aware of our proprioception. If we're not aware of how our body is, then we wouldn't be able to make adjustments if necessary. So let's come up to a seated position. Shall we take an outer thigh stretch? So find height and straighten one leg. You can flex the foot, and with the other leg, cross that over. So tailbone in the centre and lightly hug this leg. Double check you've got height, shoulders are back, the chin's a little bit back, but nothing is forced. So you can take the hand behind. Think of height before rotation. And once again, you're supposed to visualise the spine as being beads. There'd be a gap between every bead. Shall we gently release? Let's repeat on the other side. So bend the leg, find height, maintain height, cross the leg over. So weight on both bottom cheeks, and then if we choose, gently rotate. Softening the shoulders, checking the chin. It's a tiny bit retracted. So we're going to gently release out of this, and we'll take a box position. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. So let's ease back a little, allowing length through the spine. Feel a gentle stretch, and then bring your body weight forward so your shoulders are over the hips. Feel stability in the spine and maintain neutral. Repeating, so extend back. Return to neutral, and if you want more work in the upper body, bring your weight more forward, shoulders down from the ears. Repeating again. So either here or more forward, keeping the integrity of the spine. So having light control with the abdominals, choosing how far you sit back. So then, if you're ready, we could hook the toes under and push back through the heels, lengthening, and then lower the knees and sit back and just moving better into the view of the camera. So once again, shoulders over wrists, hook your toes under, raise the legs, stabilise, and then lower the knees and sit back into child pose. So we're strengthening and we're gently stretching. So listen to your body. You could spend more or less time in your plank or in your child pose. We're going to go once more through each of these exercises. So from here, let's lay on the tummy, opposite arm to leg swimming. So extend the arms, make a long line, head to tailbone, hips and pubic bones level. You might need to draw your shoulders down from the ears and allow your shoulder blades to slide further down and in. So become more aware of the breathing as you really lengthen head to tailbone. Be aware of a light engagement in the abdominals, and on the out breath, raise opposite arm to leg. In breath, lower down. So we're going to raise the arm and leg, and we have choice to lift head, shoulders and some of the chest, or we have choice to keep the head and shoulders down. So a light squeeze on the bottom, on the leg we're raising. Shall we do one more on each side? And then a box position, and we'll take a gentle cat stretch. So curl under the tailbone and release. So let's start with a smallish range of movement. Control the release. And then if that small range of movement is feeling good, gradually increase. Possibly just the cat stretch or take it into cow. So let's do 2 more here. And release. So sitting now on the side with both legs bent, having the hand to the side. So with these underneath ribs, lift them lightly if you find they're collapsing to the side. So aim for that nose, sternum, navel, pubic bone alignment. Raise the arm. Keep space through that hip socket. Lift the heart. Absorb the breath. So lengthen, and if you choose, rotate. You can adjust the hands any time you choose. So thinking of that bottom hip, making sure that we're not collapsing into that hip. Feel more that you're lifting up and out of that hip. Your shoulders are down from the ears. So when we're ready, let's release and repeat on the other side. So bend your legs and take the arm to the side. Once again, if you know that the rib is slotting out to the side or you're collapsing into your shoulder, lifting up through those areas. So lengthen through the spine, and when and if you're ready, raise the arm. So observing your breath. Create more height. And if you choose, rotating. Once again, feel that you're lifting up and out of all your joints. So think of lifting up and out of your hips. Thinking of lifting through the back. Up and out of your shoulders, supporting the head. So when you're ready, we're going to release out of this, and we'll be laying on our tummy. In this position, have the arms relaxed to the side, take the knees wide and the heels together. I'm turning my head to the side. You can turn your head to either side, switching over sides sometimes, or head straight down. So check that no sternum, navel, pubic bone alignment. Stay here as long as you choose, and then lower your legs down. So from here, we're going to bend the legs, bend the elbows in and push the hips back. So we're in a 3/4 plank position. So have the head alignment, and at any time you can lower back down. So think of the ribs. Know that the ribs aren't collapsing down, and you can hold the shape of the spine. You can hold the shape of the shoulders. So when you get tired, lower down, relax your arms, and then repeat. So bringing the elbows in, coming up to a 3/4 plank position. Or if you feel ready, it's time straightening the legs, full plank. So making sure there isn't struggle. You feel probably challenged, but not struggling. Shoulder blades are flat on the back, placing the knees down when you need, lowering down when you need. So let's repeat that just once more through if it suits us. So arms in, shoulders down, up to the knees, elongating, maybe up to the toes. So that light engagement through the abdominals, the shoulders and chin that are retracted, gently lower. So we're going to bring our knees in under the hips. Let's think about the red in the arm underneath, but still keeping length in the spine, please. So thread the arm underneath. You might take the head down. So length before rotation. So if you find those ribs are collapsing, you need to just give them light support, lifting them up in line. Switching to the other side when you feel ready. So length. Just watch for relaxed shoulders, and just watch those ribs aren't collapsing down. Just lightly supporting everything. Gently releasing when you're ready. And we're going to, providing you're comfortable to do so, take your knees wider and sit back into child pose. Allow the back to lengthen. So we'll be finishing off here, taking as long as we choose to stretch. I hope you've enjoyed the session. I hope you feel relaxed, realigned and stabilised through all the areas. Thank you very much.